All right. So I set up a Venn diagram already. It's already kind of given, and we know what the regions are going to be. So when you set up your own, you're going to set up a circle that's talking about one thing, set up a circle that's talking about another, and we're going to presume that there's going to be some region in the middle. So you can always have them intersect. So how I would set this up is just I'm going to draw it, even though it's already drawn, and then it's saying police report that 78% of drivers stopped on suspicion of drunk driving are given a breath test. So you could say, all right, well, they're given a breath test. This is breath. 36% are given a blood test. So that's another thing we're talking about. And I'm just going to make sure that they intersect a little bit. Good. And then 22% are given both tests. Okay, well, we already have two regions, so we're not going to write the word both in here, but it is implied that this then would be both. Okay, complete a Venn diagram and answer the following questions. So here's what we know. Remember, the most important thing, one of the most important things in this slide, I said, always start with the intersection between sets. So we should be starting with the intersection of the sets. And the intersection is both tests. So if you're given both tests, we know what region that is. It's the both. It's the middle. So this is, change this guy. This is 22%. Okay, and the reason why we start in the middle is because that helps us figure out what's in the remaining regions. Mainly like this region right here, like the partial moon, because we know what the whole circle represents. But if we have 22 in the middle, we can't count that twice. So what percentage of drivers are stopped are given neither test? We'll actually come back to that one because it's easier to fill out the Venn diagram and then get to that. So number 2, let's start there. What percent of drivers are given some type of test? Okay, so what that's really asking is it's saying you're either given some type of test. You're given the breath test or the blood test, but it's kind of implying that if you're given some type of test, you could be given both. So we need to know what goes in this region and this region, like just blood or just breath. And then because we already know what goes is both. So this is just subtraction. We're just saying, well, I know that 78% of drivers stopped on suspicion of drunk driving are given a breath test. So since this whole circle of breath is 78, but I know that the both is 22, I should be able to just subtract the 2 to figure out what's in the remaining region of the breath test. Just this region, because 22 of it's right there already. So if you subtract them, you get 56. So then the breath test is 56%. And those are the people that are given a breath test and not a blood test. Okay, the blood test, we know that 36% are given a blood test. So this whole circle of blood tests, there's 36%. But I can't write 36 in this region because 22 of it is already right there. So subtract them, you'd get the remaining in this region. And the area of this circle here, it's not representative of how big the number is. We're just showing how much is in that quantity, in that little region. So 36 minus 22 is 14. So that means we know that this is 14%. And now that we have the people who are given a blood test, a breath test, or both, we can figure out who are not given any test. So pause it if you need to. See what that is. How many people are not given any of these tests? And you should get 92 is how many is given in all of the regions of the circle. That would mean that 8% is on the outside because it's got to add up to 100. 100% of people who are stopped are either given a blood test, a breath test, or neither test. And then there are some that aren't given any test. So we kind of answered all of our questions already just by filling out the Venn diagram. So that's cool. What percent of drivers stopped are given neither test? Well, we just figured that out. It's neither. It's 8. What percent of drivers are given some type of test? Well, that would be all three, because a blood test, a breath test, or both. That's 92%. Then what percent of drivers are given a blood test or a blood test, breath test or a blood test, but not both? So this is specifically saying it's the exclusive or. It's not it's the coffee or tea. It's not the cream or sugar or both. It says not both. So we would just add up the blood test or the breath test, but we can't add up the 22 because that's the people who were given both tests. In this case, that's 70%. Okay. So that's one example of how to set up a Venn diagram and then fill it in. Notice we started with the both, then we filled in the other two regions, and then we filled in the neither. All right, let's try one more. Okay. So you should probably stop the video and see if you can figure out some of this on your own. And I won't pause because you can do that, and I'll just keep going. So real estate ads suggest that 32 homes for sale have garages. So notice right here we have a circle that represents homes with garages, homes for sale that have garages. 10 of them have swimming pools. So we have a circle that has homes for sale that have swimming pools. Presumably we have an intersection because some are going to have both a garage and a swimming pool. And then that's the next thing that's stated. 9 have both. So where do you start? Both. So I'm not going to answer any of these questions yet until I fill in the Venn diagram. But if 9 homes for sale have both features, that has to be in the middle, both pool and the garage. Then we can kind of work backwards now. 10 have swimming pools. So if the whole circle represents homes for sale that have swimming pools, and 9 of this whole circle representing swimming pool homes, there's 10 of them, but 9 of them are in the middle. That means that this region's only one home that has a pool and not a garage. Okay. And then we can do the garage too. There are 32, so this whole garage thing is 32. Notice this pools, whole pools. I'll write this in here. Pools were 10. And the garage homes for sale, there's 32 of them. Garage. Yeah, it's a 32. And that's the whole thing. So, but 9 of them are in the middle. So we can't write 32 in this region because there's already 9 as part of the circle right there. So you have to subtract them, you'd get 23. Okay, we can answer some questions now. How many homes for sale have garages but do not have a pool? So what that's asking is the garages, that's this circle, but I can't say it's 32 because 9 of the ones that have garages also have a pool. That's the middle part of the Venn diagram, so we've already answered it. It's 23. How many homes for sale have pools but do not have garages? It's kind of the opposite question. So 10 have pools, a full circle, but 9 of them are in the middle, have also garages, so just 1 left over. And now, here's a little tricky here. If 50 homes were listed, how many homes have neither a garage nor a pool? So we did figure out all of the houses that have garages, that have pools, and have both. But if there were 50 houses sold total, there are some that aren't accounted for in these circles. And that's what goes in the rest of this Venn diagram, not in the circles. Not pools, not garages, not both. And there are 50 total. So we would just add each of these up. So that's 32 and 1 is 33. And there's 50 total. So we're just subtracting. And we know that there are 17 homes that didn't have a garage, didn't have a pool, if we're saying there were 50 listed. How many homes have a swimming pool or a garage? And this is the magic question. Because we want to say a pool or garage. Oh, okay. So, 10 and 32, right? They have garages, they have swimming pools. The problem is we counted 9 twice if we did it that way. So the reason why we set up the Venn diagrams to be able to answer this tricky OR question, it's saying, do you want cream or sugar? Or both. So you have swimming pools, that's 1. You have garages, that's 23. And then you have the both, which is 9. So you'd add it up, and we actually already did this. We got 33. Number 5, how many homes have a pool and a garage? The and is the lot easier one. That's the one that's both. That means the both. And we were already given that like right away. So that's 9. And then there is a question here that says the or, but not both. So it's making a stipulation saying it's not the inclusive or. We're excluding the ones that are both. So a pool or a garage, but not both. And then you'd add up those just the regions that aren't in the middle. So 1 and 23. That would be 24. All right. So some of the learning targets we didn't explicitly get to in this video, and that's okay. We want to do an introduction to Venn diagrams primarily. So we did do the counting, and we did do the Venn diagram. The complement of a set gets a little tricky, and we will hit on that later. Okay.